Well, happy Sunday, sports fans, unless you're a fan of the New England Patriots as I am, considering they got their butts whipped pretty badly in Buffalo last night. Kind of a sad end of the season for Mac Jones, and I suspect Coach Belichick is going to be going through his defensive line this offseason with fire and or a sword. But I'm going to leave all the expert analysis of this sort of thing up to Stacy McCain, who has forgotten more about college and professional football than I ever knew. Not that that takes much, but I'm sure he's going to have some things to say about it down the road. In the meantime, um, to hit the parts of this that most of you are tuning in for, presumably, health continues to get better. Slept for about, I don't know, 11, 12 hours last night with some interruptions. I crashed a little bit after 7, slept until midnight when I woke up with a horrible case of the sweats and a yawning hunger in my stomach. So I managed to get myself up, throw some cream, some yogurt, some frozen peaches, and various flavorings and sweeteners into the blender. And oh my God, it was the best thing ever. Well, at least you know within the category of homemade, semi-frozen dessert type stuff, and that allowed me to get back to sleep. And I slept until about 9 o'clock. Woke up, looked at my email, went back to sleep until about noon. And when I was awakened by family members concerned that I hadn't posted a video yesterday, they were wondering if I was okay. For certain definitions of okay, I guess I am. I'm still feeling drained of energy thanks to the antibiotics that are presumably kicking the snot out of the infection in the left leg. Um, I'm still taking all my normal diabetes and blood pressure medications, and so far the numbers on both of those are pretty good. I think all of my well, no, I know that all of my blood sugar readings since I got back from Provo have been in the the normal 70 to 120 range, which is outstanding. And the blood pressure numbers all look pretty good to me too. Of course, when I talked to my pharmacist, Doc Bui, on Tuesday, I'll find out if I'm really doing as well as I think I am. Um, Aside from that, scraped my face this morning, which makes me feel a little more human and civilized. And I really need to get back in the habit of doing that every day. For a while, I've been sloughing off and only shaving like every 2 or 3 days, and sometimes I would kind of backslide from that, and things would get considerably out of hand to the point where I'd need like 2 or 3 disposable razors and a regular Barbasol 6 blade to trim the facial foliage down to um, a manageable size, which is to say gone, because I never liked beards. They irritate the hell out of me, and I see no reason to try and invest in all the infrastructure necessary to maintain a beard on a par with such legendary heroes as Colonel Joshua Chamberlain, General Grant, General Lee. Pick any Civil War general. They all had some pretty ferocious beards, except for that guy Burnside, who was an inept loser anyway. Even if he did invent the sideburn, for which he is probably mercifully best known. Um, as far as getting things done around the house goes, yesterday was pretty much a day of indolence and sloth, except for going down to the post office and getting just a ton of stuff here, a lot of which I'm not going to be able to deal with until Tuesday when the banks open. Among which are a couple of mailers from the NRA, a final reminder that my membership is probably expiring sometime in the next 6 months or so, and I'll probably re-up. I mean, they provide me with some useful reading material, and in a sense that, I'm not alone out here. There's a bunch of other gun owners who think the state and federal government should just screw off and leave us alone. As, in contrast to all the thugs, gangbangers, and other shitheads terrorizing the inner cities. Um, Anyhow, today probably going to do more sloth and indolence because I'm still kind of tired. The antibiotics are really sucking the energy out of me, and I found some clean clothes I didn't know I had. So there's no real urgency for me to go across the street and do my laundry and eat a lunch with probably way too many carbs at the stage stop. But I'll get it done. Maybe I'll get it done today. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. That seems like a pretty good idea to me. Okay. Technical stuff. I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but I'm currently listening to um, Klaus Schulze's album X, which is a double CD. It's his 10th album, originally released in 1976, and so far, I gotta say this is pretty good stuff, even by Klaus Schulze's standards. It's not full of the horrible noises masquerading as music that Ehrlicht was, but at the same time, it's not as gentle and symphonic as, say, Time Wind or picture music. But anyway, I recommend it. It's $22 from Amazon. Might be able to get it cheaper somewhere else, but one thing's for sure. I've noticed that unlike a lot of other musicians, Mr. Schulz does not offer very much of his music in digital format. So you got to buy the CD. And in the case of X, it's worth it. There's a booklet in which he talks about um, his opinions on music in general. Surprisingly, he was a big fan of punk music in the 70s and 80s. Um, and the reason I say that's surprising is because a lot of his music, quite frankly, is more classical than anything else. And I think it compares well with one of his musical idols, Richard Wagner, who everybody probably knows best for the enormous Ring cycle, which does not have anything to do with the J.R.R. Tolkien Lord of the Rings trilogy. I don't care what you heard. Anyhow, yeah. So I don't know if you're hearing this. I did a quick look through various YouTube tutorials about how to add music to your video, and most of them want me to download somebody's proprietary software or use a public service like Capwing, which means giving up my data to somebody to use, which I'm not thrilled about. But I'll look more into it, partially because for a while last year, and still in the back of my head is a notion that Tonopah really needs its own radio station. I realize we're just a town of 2,600, but just a half an hour down the road in Goldfield, which is a much smaller town, they've got a community radio station, KGFN, which you can listen to on the internet if you happen to like really old-timey country and western music. Um, Now, my plans for the tentatively named KTNP are considerably less ambitious than that. I wanted to basically play some rock and roll, play some electronica, play some alternative music, if I can find any that doesn't suck after the 1990s, and do some local news, and basically try to do a Western Nevada imitation of Earl Roots, the Root of All Evil, which used to play on KFAI in Minneapolis. Um, but on looking into it, doing the internet radio thing is maybe not quite as expensive as hiring a bunch of dudes to build you a radio tower on a nearby mountain or something, or even renting space on one of those towers for your own transmitter. But it ain't cheap. I mean, you got to get a license from the FCC. You gotta you gotta you gotta pay for the music licensing, which costs about $400 a year, so you don't get busted for copyright violations and such like things. And I'm kind of dubious about whether I've got the time, energy, and most of all the money to do this. So in the meantime, I'm going to continue with these short little videos, especially because like about half a dozen people have subscribed to this channel, and I feel moderately guilty if I don't put something out there for people. We'll see how that goes. Today, energy and gumption permitting, we're going to try and do a Rule 5 Sunday, which the other McCain has not seen for about a month. For those of you unaware, Rule 5 is one of Stacey McCain's 5 ways to get a million hits on your blog. And simply stated, everybody likes a pretty girl. If you're doing nothing but politics 24/7, 365 days a year, you're going to drive yourself nuts. Your readers are going to get bored unless they're the kind of politics obsessed psychos that nobody really wants to hang around with. You know, in the famous words of Garrison Keillor before he moved to New York and became a complete sphincter, politics forces you to associate with the people that you would normally cross the street to avoid. And having been involved in conservative and Republican politics for about 30 going on 40 years now, I would have to agree with every word of that. So going to try and do Rule 5 Sunday. If I don't get that done, at least I'm going to update and post by any meme necessary, which is my annual recap of how the year has gone, which I owe to Mitch Berg at shotinthedark.info, which is a really useful reference for politics in Minnesota and especially in the Twin Cities. Anyway, Mitch isn't doing it anymore as far as I can tell, but I thought it was a pretty useful thing to be working on throughout the year and at the end of the year especially. And obviously, I have quite a few edits to make in the file before I post it. So you're going to get to see that. And that's about all I got for today. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday, staying hydrated, staying healthy. And we'll check back into you tomorrow on Martin Luther King Day, and take it easy.